So let's take a couple minutes. I'm going to wrap up in a few minutes. I wanted to talk a little bit about real estate education because there's a lot of them out there. Obviously, I do it as well. There's a few things that you want to be careful of. How many of you guys have been through any other consulting programs or anything out there before? There's a ton of them out there. A few things you want to be careful of because I've been through a lot of them. A lot of times they'll try to get your credit card balance information up front, and then they'll tailor a program to match your credit card balance. Okay? That's something you want to be careful of because they can tack on anything you can imagine. They can tack on software packages and service agreements and foreclosure alerts and all these different things, and they'll just keep tacking it on and tacking it on and tacking it on until it reaches the balance of your credit card. And so you want to be careful of that. Another thing that they'll do a lot of times is they'll say you've got to make the decision today. And anytime you've got to make a decision today, is that a good thing? No. And it ties back in what we were saying earlier. You've got project management where you've got to make decisions because stuff happens so fast. And what did I say the benefit of real estate was?
You got time.
We've got time. And who is going to, on a $100,000 or $200,000 transaction on a house, who's going to expect you to make a snap decision on day one? You've got to be able to do some due diligence and check things out and make sure it's right. So you got to at least be able to sleep on it. So you've got time to think about it. I mean, your mindset changes from one day to the next, and so it's usually just not a good idea to make a snap decision the day you look at anything. And so make sure you're cautious about that. Now, like I said, I've dealt with a lot of different groups out there. Some of them spend $5,000, some of them 10, some of them 25. I've been working with groups in some of these cities where people spend up to $75,000 for their packages. That's what kind of money people are spending out there. Now, is it worth it? I don't think so. We can make it worth it, and that's what my job is, to go in and say, hey, if you spend $75,000, I can show you how to negotiate that out of one transaction, easily. If you do the right kind of deal, you can negotiate that in 15 minutes. I did that this past week, actually, more than that. But in reality, you should be spending a lot less than that because the reality is you can find a lot of the information they provide to you for free on the internet. You just need to know how to search it out and find it and filter it and that kind of thing. And I think people get too hung up on buying as much as they can, and they get caught up in the hype of volume when they need a more focused approach. And so you just need to be a little bit careful about that. So if you guys ever have any questions on anything that you run into or anything that you ever want to deal with, you'll have my contact info through Shane. And so you can always call me and ask me any questions if you want to. We've got different things we're going to be doing. We've got projects, like I told you, we're working on. And so if there's anything you guys ever need, just feel free to give me a call, and I'll give you some insight on that as best I can. And then hopefully we'll see you guys again, maybe a month or two down the road for some of your meetings, or when we come back to do the Chamber of Commerce event, we can have some of your people come over and things like that. So do you guys have any questions, or is there anything that you feel like we needed to cover today that you have questions on that you need more info on?
I wouldn't know where to start first time.
Yeah.
So,
do you feel a little more confident though? A lot of times what I try to do is make sure people feel comfortable that you can get out there and do things regardless of where you're coming from.
maybe a little bit. From my point of view, I think that I can learn a lot on my own, but it's the execution stage that's the steps it takes to execute.
Right.
That's where it starts getting fuzzy, and you start second guessing: am I doing the right thing? Have I missed anything, or am I setting myself up to be taken advantage of? Things like that.
Yeah. And that'll come with time. I mean, you'll get experience on that, and we can give you some guidance on that too. We'll be in touch with you and show you some different things you can look into.
I think that understanding the concepts is very it's the execution.
Yeah. And then what we could probably do is we could probably even do an advanced class sometime if you want to talk more specifically commercial and get into. I can go through quite a few negotiations I put together. We actually bought a town. No, we didn't buy it. We had a contract on a town, It was a 13,000 acre project in Oregon that we had under contract. It was like, I can't remember what it was, like 130 million bucks or something. But it had a town included with it, and we were going to actually incorporate the town, and it had a school, and we were going to put together a town government and all that kind of stuff. But the reason we didn't, we had the contract on it, but there was another project that was down in Ashton, Oregon, and it had been in litigation for about 20 years from a lot of the environmental activists, because we were going to be putting in a golf course and equestrian estates, and he had kind of the same model, and it was, you know, probably 200 miles away, but same kind of concept. And it's like, you know what, I do not want to spend 20 years fighting litigation from a bunch of environmentalists. You know, I'd rather go do a project somewhere where nobody's going to interfere, so we ended up walking from that one. But that one would have been kind of fun, you know. So, any other questions you guys have on anything? Okay, perfect. Well, let's see if we can set something up then on the commercial side.